Now you have polka dots, and now you don't. So I went ahead and removed the excess fabric from the back, and now I have one piece of fabric that I'll be working on to embroidery, and it's much easier to work with one piece of fabric instead of two. So you can see how easy it is to change out fabric. Now on this next part, you want to be careful how this lines up. You're going to take a 1/2 inch. So a couple of tricks if you're going to be using some grass fabric or something like this. I've left it a little loose so that I can work my embroidery stitches in between. And now I'm going to go back and secure it onto my fabric. So I've finished my embellishments and I've changed out the background fabric of the little trailer. And at this point, you just kind of start at the very beginning of the instructions. And if you want to put on pockets on the sides, this is the time to do it. A couple of ways. I at first was contemplating putting on a pocket. I didn't want to do the top stitching, so I lined it. But then I decided against it because I'm going to just make it more continuous. But if you choose, you can put a pocket on at this time. You can sew it in the middle, whatever you'd like to do. Now I need to go ahead and, as the instructions says, we are going to iron on the fusible interfacing to the front, back, and top. Now the interfacing that I'm going to be using, I wanted it really stiff so it would stand up on its own, and it didn't come with the fusible backing. So I'm going to try this blender under, and I'm going to first attach it to my piece, to my pieces on the back, and then I'm going to size everything up. I like this heat bond a lot better than the blender under for sure. Okay, so my medium heat. I'm not going to iron it all the way to the bottom because I am going to wait till I put the seam in so that it's not so bulky at the very bottom. Then I'll turn it under. Then I'm going to have my glue come right on top of it. And then my inside material that's going to stiffen it up. So that is going to be great. But I'm going to mark this with a pin so I know not to iron below this point, because this part is going to be easy to iron from inside when it's put together. I like this little iron because I can kind of get into tighter spaces, and I want to achieve the flattest look I can. So I've squared up all my pieces. The fronts equal the top, the sides are the same size as the sides. And now I'm going to go back to the instructions. You got to see this. So, as we've discussed, if you want to put the pockets on, you can. Now you would work on the handle on top. If you chose, I am not going to put a handle on the top, so I'm skipping down. And the next step, number 3, says, with wrong sides together, stitch the top of the cover front and the top of the cover back to the long sides of the cover top. I do not understand how you can put wrong sides together. I do not understand that step. I will be putting right sides together and making this stitch. They want you to go in a ½ inch on each side, but I'm putting right sides together. So I'm going to remove my paper backing. I've got the shiny side up. I've got my top pinned on the top, and just make sure that the sides are flush. And I'm going to repeat everything on the back side. So I've put the roof on, and now it's asking you to put the sides on. So you need to make sure that you put the right side. These do not match. And I like to go ahead and make about an inch seam right over that so that I know that it's going to line up exactly where I want it. So I'm going to pin that. And again, if my heat bond is in the ½ inch seam allowance, it's not going to sew, but I think in this case I'm good. So I'm going to sew these sides together. Making sure that the seam is lined up right there. So in order for my lines to match the sides to the front, I did have to put in the seams a couple of times, but I do think it's worth it. And this is why you only want to sew to that ½ inch mark, is so that you can twist this around because you're sewing your sides to your top now. And it just allows you to pivot. Line everything back up. And so I just kind of folded this one into a little point so that I can put this right here. I'm going to put a pin. This should be my ½ inch mark to where I'm going to start to sew. I'll just peek inside and see how my corner did. Okay, that looks good. My lines are pretty lined up. That's all I could do. So be very mindful on where your sides line up. I think that's a little bit tricky. So I'm peeling off the backing off of the Ultra Hold, and I put it on the back of my project. And if I had this to do again, I would actually put it on my stabilizer or my interfacing. I do like how it, you know, adhered the hem down, because I put it right here. I do like that, and I like the Ultra Hold feel. It's kind of got a little bit of a rubbery texture to it, but I think that just yields to the extra hold. And the paper came off super easy versus the Wonder Under. I think it's a far superior product, but I would have done this a little bit differently. It was a little more challenging. Now before I turn this right side out, I want to make the measurements so that I can cut my stabilizer, because you can kind of see that it needs something. So I'm going to go ahead and mark a 1/4 inch. And I am going to put these together just like I put the project together. The front and the back, I'm going to sew to the top first. Out from underneath my foot so I can rotate it around. I'm going to crease this just like I did before. Make my 90-degree turn. Put it right back under my foot. Nice. All right, so let's see if we can put these two together. Turn this in. I did end up doing a couple of modifications. I was going to put the seams on the inside, but it seems to be more flush together with the seams of the stabilizer on this side. So I'm okay with that. I'm going to leave it, and I'm having to kind of trim off some from the bottom, which I didn't really expect, but really no big deal. So I'm going to mark it. And I like the ruler to make it flat. But other than that, I think it's going to work out really well. Oh my gosh, it turned out super cute. So the sewing machine cover is done. It turned out just super cute. I've been making things since I was 3. Creating is my happy place and my passion. My hope is that you feel inspired as a result of watching my videos and create something incredible.
I would love to hear about it by leaving me a comment below, and give the thumbs up for other interested viewers. If this is your first time here, I would love for you to subscribe, because this channel is all about creativity and inspiration. I hope you feel inspired to create something amazing. Feel free to share the inspiration, because life is a journey we make together.